This video is about certain misconceptions and myths that some people hold concerning Sharia, its application in the northern part of Nigeria, and the Sharia judicial system. These are three different things, yet many people wrongly collapse them into one, which has created confusion and unnecessary controversy. Before I go into the discussion, I would first like to thank Mr. Simon once again for being a true activist on social media. I sincerely appreciate and acknowledge the video you made concerning my case when I was oppressed. You truly demonstrated patriotic concern. Besides, I heard you saying that you think maybe your video was what secured my freedom. No, Simon. Perhaps you may not know this, but many influential people intervene in this case. Lawyers, including senior advocates of Nigeria, activists, and others from different angles. Some of them I only became aware of after I regained my freedom and saw the interventions that had taken place. The rest of the people who were detained alongside me were just released the day before yesterday. So we thank God first, and then everyone who spoke out for us, including yourself. Indeed, together we make the change. Though I also heard you on your live stream calling me names, you call me a fanatic, which can be translated as an extremist, simply because I stand by my core Islamic guidance, unlike some hypocrites who choose to say soothing and pleasing words just to please your ears. My brother, actually you need to broaden your knowledge of Islam if you must always speak on its affairs, because you are often misled. You are often misled by some social media claimants who only pretend to be knowledgeable Muslims. Have you ever seen an extremist study law and become a barrister? If I were an extremist, I wouldn't have criticized, condemned, and cursed Boko Haram and ISIS. Therefore, this is the most unjust label anyone has ever thrown at me. You owe me an apology, Mr. Man. Actually, I wanted to join your live yesterday, but when I saw one Hajia trying to explain the fact to you, the woman was bullied and denied the chance to speak, despite already being on the live, so I reconsidered. Although I later sent a request as well, it was not accepted. I would not want to be treated the way that Hajia was treated. The discussion did not appear fruitful or beneficial. It turned into a quarrel. So the principles of Audi Alterem Patam wasn't recognized. So that was why I move on. Because you are expected to hear from both sides, those who are supporting you and those who are against you. Returning to the main topic, misconceptions about Sharia. The main issue here is the misconceptions and myths held by some people who believe that whenever a legislature enacts a law that aligns with the concept of Sharia, no matter how good or beneficial the law is, they just think that it automatically means that the entire Sharia law has been adopted in that state. That is how they are thinking. This belief is legally wrong. So first of all, when you talk about Sharia solely, you are just referring to Allah's law, irrespective of applying it or imposing it on any particular state. So you should know this first. But when you talk about the Sharia judicial system, it refers to solely to applying Sharia to Muslims. And you are referring to court, Sharia court, not to anyone else who is non-Muslim. This is second. Thirdly, when you discard the application of the laws having Sharia concept in the state, enacted by its legislature, you hear me? When you discuss the application of laws, any laws having Sharia concept, not, I didn't say Sharia, Sharia concept, because that is different. Sharia means purely Sharia, enacted by Allah, implemented by Prophet Muhammad or any Muslim. But when I say Sharia concept, laws having Sharia concept in a state, this means the laws enacted by its legislature in the House of Assembly of that state. This is not regarded as Sharia per se. It is regarded as state law, even if it incorporates Sharia features. I hope you understand this. So, for example, our penal code was developed by a committee under Malam Abu Ranat in Sudan, which is still an Islamic state, Sudan. Nigeria copied their penal code and applied it in the north. Nobody said we adopted Sharia simply by doing this. It is about legislative enactment, not purely the Quran's sole motto. Even though the laws enacted by the legislature may be based on Quranic concept, but that doesn't make it Quran. And that also doesn't mean the state adopted Sharia. But because Sharia has the same concept of dismantling and discouraging immoral behavior, that is why you see it as it is exactly Sharia adopted in that state. Why are you guys not mounting the same pressure on customary courts, customary law courts, as you just do on Sharia courts? You are not mounting the same against customary court, which exist everywhere in the country, north, south, without objection from Muslims. Customary court are found even in the north, everywhere in the north, which is about 80% predominantly Muslims. Yet you cannot find a single Sharia court in the south. You can't find it. They will object to it. Not even in Lagos, where Muslims constitute about 40 to 50% of the population. They did not mount the same pressure against customary court, despite the fact that Sharia court are solely for Muslims and for those who voluntarily consent to their jurisdiction. So what a partial judgment. It is worthy of being noted that Nigeria operates under a constitutional structural legal framework. The constitution clearly provides for three categories of legislative powers. Look at chapter 4, section 4, subsection 1 to subsection 7. Legislative power, number 1, executive legislative list. This power matters on the executive list are primarily within the jurisdiction of the federal government. However, where the federal government remains silent on a matter, State House of Assembly are constitutionally competent to legislate on it. This ensures that states can act for the welfare, morality, and culture of their population without violating the constitution. I can give you some authorities and section. I just say Section 4, 1999 Constitution, and the authority of Attorney General of Ogun State by Sis Aberuba, 1985. Volume 1, Nigeria Weekly Law Report, Part 3, number 395. The second category is concurrent legislative list. This power matters on the concurrent list are shared between the National Assembly and the State House of Assembly. The State House of Assembly of various states, both levels of government can legislate on these issues. But where conflict arises, federal legislation prevails. And the third category of this framework is residual legislative list. This power are matters not specifically mentioned in either the exclusive or concurrent list. These matters automatically fall under the residual list. So this power provides states with legislative autonomy on issues not expressly covered by federal law. See Section 4, Subsection 7, 1999 Constitution, and also see the case of Attorney General of the Federation by Sis Abubakar 2007, Volume 10, Nigerian Weekly Law Report, Part 1041, Number 1. Blasphemy as a residual matter. Blasphemy is a clear example. Neither the Constitution nor federal legislation specifically addresses it. Therefore, it falls directly under the residual list within the competence of state legislatures. Importantly, no religion and no moral system support insulting another person's religion, especially the sanctity of prophets. This is not peculiar to Islam. Accordingly, a State House of Assembly is constitutionally empowered to enact laws on blasphemy, and the legislature may also prescribe punishment without limitation as to form. Provided the law is properly enacted, it passes through the required legislative process, including a special two-thirds majority where applicable. And the punishment is designed as deterrence. Though I am not in any way supporting jungle justice. No. Islam does not support it either. Any crime committed by a Muslim or non-Muslim should be taken to a court of law for proper adjudication. However, must the culprit insult another person's prophet? Must he? The prophet, the most beloved and esteemed figure to us. Why do you never hear a Muslim insult Jesus? Why? We can't insult Jesus. We love him. I believe that anyone who insults the prophet of another religion, that person should first be ashamed of their upbringing. So constitutionally, it is permitted for legislature to enact laws that are good for the betterment of their people and which align with the culture and moral values of the majority, especially on moral grounds. Even religions such as Christianity do not encourage immoral acts such as alcohol consumption or prostitution. Therefore, laws that regulate or prohibit such acts are not merely religious impositions, but moral and social regulations aimed at public order, which is supported by all standards. So when someone claims that such laws deprive them of the right to live as they wish, the legal answer is simple. You are right, Mr. Man ends where another person's right begins. So immoral acts are expected to be discouraged and where necessary prohibited by the legislature, such as alcohol abuse, fornication, prostitution, and what have you. Irrespective of religion, all other socially harmful behavior are expected to be prohibited in a reasonable society. Thus are matters of public morality and social order, not faith enforcement. However, it must be clearly stated that a governor cannot proclaim a religion as the law of a state. What is required is to follow constitutional and legislative procedures, enact laws through the State House of Assembly, and avoid publicly announcing or framing those laws as the adoption or implementation of a religion. This is where Yarima Bakura Mesani of Zamfara faced challenges. This is why the fact that the laws in Zamfara state were duly enacted by legislature. His public announcement of implementation of Shari'a created impression that a religion had been adopted as state law. As a result, he received serious backlash. The issue was therefore largely political and semantic, not seen as legislative or constitutional. So this is the legal position, and this is what I can say according to the law, particularly the Constitution. We should not simply make claims or accusations without proper legal backing. I thank you very much, my brother Simon, and other Christians as well. After all, we all come from one father Adam and one mother Eve. We are enjoined to live peacefully and work together for progress, especially in the face of this political oppression we continue to witness in Nigeria. It is only when we unite that we can confront and overcome the oppressive politicians who have ruined our future and our country. Islam is a religion of peace. It's not by fire, by force religion. Even Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, did not impose Islam on non-Muslim by force. Any jihad you may hear about must be understood in its historical context. They were acts of retaliation against severe oppression who subjected him and his followers to merciless treatment, repeatedly violated treaties, and supported enemies against him. Otherwise, Prophet Muhammad was a man of exemplary character, so much so that even non-Muslims in Mecca called him Al-Amin, the trustworthy. This reputation was earned through integrity and character. He even sent his biological daughter and companions to Najashi in Ethiopia, where they lived peacefully. Najashi eventually accepted Islam due to the good character they displayed. Many people accepted Islam not by force, but through its good teachings, kindness, patience, tolerance, and moral conduct. At the same time, he firmly upheld core Islamic teachings. dismantling immorality and encouraging moral behavior regardless of who felt offended. That is life. So when trying to please people, one should do so without displeasing the Creator who has bestowed immeasurable favors upon you. Ultimately, when someone sees the truth, they are expected to embrace it with sincerity and understanding as a reasonable man. By understanding one another, we can come together as one united Nigeria to challenge this unprecedented operation and build a future of peace and prosperity. May we live peacefully and prosper together. Most obliged.